Ni hao and welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are hale and hearty. Today we are going to start a new story. So let's begin. The Prince and the Pauper. The Prince and the Pauper is written by Mark Twain. It tells the tale of two young boys who are born on the same day and are identical in appearance. Tom Canty, a pauper who lives with his cruel father in Awful Court in London, and Prince Edward. They swap clothing one afternoon, and as a result, they swap lives as well. After many adventures, matters are set right again. A long time ago, in old London town, a baby named Tom was born to a family of paupers in Awful Court. At the very same time, in a very different neighborhood known as Westminster, a baby named Edward was born to the royal family. Tom had a hard life. As a little boy, he was sent out every day to beg for food and money. If Tom came home empty-handed, his cruel father would beat him and send him to bed hungry. One day, desperate to return home with something, Tom tried begging in a different neighborhood. He wandered around the fancy streets until, before he knew it, he had arrived at the royal palace. Although he knew it was forbidden to stop at the palace's iron gates, his curiosity got the better of him, and he tried to get a peek inside. And there he saw the little boy who had been born on the same day as him, Prince Edward. When the royal guard caught sight of Tom, he grabbed him roughly by the collar and shouted, "Get out of here! Go back to your own neighborhood! Paupers are not welcome here!" Prince Edward, who was nearby on the other side of the gates, heard everything. He felt bad for Tom. "Open the gate," he demanded. "Guard, you should not have handled this poor boy so roughly." Then he took Tom into the palace with him. The prince guessed that Tom was hungry, so he had a delicious meal prepared for his new friend and then took him on a tour of the castle. Prince Edward told Tom all about his life as a prince, and Tom thought that it all sounded fantastic. Since Tom was little, he had always dreamed of being a prince. When the prince asked Tom about his life, Tom explained that he spent lots of time on the street of Awful Court, and that when he wasn't busy talking to strangers and begging, he played with his friends. The prince, who was tired of being cooped up alone in the castle, thought this sounded like tremendous fun. So the two boys, who happened to look very much alike, decided to swap clothes for the day, just to see what it would feel like to be the other person. Once Prince Edward was dressed as a pauper. He thought it would be fun to go for a walk around the palace grounds. But when he arrived at the gate, he was surprised. The guard, who was still annoyed about having been scolded earlier for trying to get rid of Tom, mistook the prince for the pauper. When he saw that pauper was alone, he whacked him and kicked him off the ground. Edward pleaded, "Guard, do you not recognize me? It is I, Prince Edward, dressed in the pauper's clothes." But the guard wouldn't listen. He closed the gates, and there was no way to get back inside. What? The story ended? No, the story didn't end yet. But this is all for today. This is the only part 1 of the story. I will share the part 2 in my next video, so stay tuned. But you have to tell me in the comments what do you think will happen afterwards in the part 2. Do tell me in the comments. Sai-Chian, today I am using Chinese language somewhere because I really like learning Chinese and I am doing a course on it. I will see you in my next video. Sai-Chian!